G'day. Had some interest in the Getz as far as how I built it, some of the steps involved. A little video here that sort of goes through what I did and how I built the car. Unfortunately, when I bought the car, which was about October last year, 2025, I didn't have any filming equipment and I didn't really know what to do. I still don't really know exactly how to do all of this, but part of the requirements inside the car is to have a GoPro or some sort of camera equipment that captures your driving and anyone that's in front of you. Because of that, I've obviously got a GoPro here and I use that, and that's what I'm using now, to film this. Unfortunately, I don't have the step-by-step of what I did with this particular car, but I do have another car, so you'll hear me talking about that car. Yeah, it's been really cool to build. It's been surprising how much interest I've gotten. I've really liked that because it's from people who are interested in the category or want to be a part of the category. And so I would highly recommend, if you are considering having a go at this, the other car that I bought, I got for $800. It's cheap. Like that car, you can start from that. The engine runs, you would be able to replace a few things and get that car and build it into something like this. You can start with a very small budget. You don't need to go straight into the category. You could go to QR and do sprints or any of the main racetracks and attend the sprint series. Or you can do skid control events. You can do the short course, which is $100 to get out there and have a go. It doesn't need to be these big, expensive, elaborate setups. You can do it with very basic cars. Check out the video. Let me know what you think. Hope it explains a bit about what I've done with this car. How I went about going from a standard Getz to this Getz. There's not a lot to it, but there are some little things that I'm still learning and still developing and doing along the way that I don't know, I just didn't put enough thought to it or whatever it might be. So there's still some things that I'm doing with the car, such as I've just pulled the dash out. Underneath your dash, obviously you've got your blower and aircon and your heater coil and all the switches and controls for your fans and all that sort of stuff, and your stereo and stuff. I'd pulled the stereo out, but all that sort of stuff is in behind your dash. I just didn't pay enough respect to it, and I just thought, oh, it's not going to be a big deal. But I am trying to get this car down in weight. I do want to get it to the minimum weight. That's what I'm working on at the moment, as well as sorting out a bit of an exhaust. I did a practice a week ago and I changed some things in the exhaust. So basically you have to keep the standard or the OEM header, and then after that you're allowed to do whatever you like. Now, standard engines, there's little refinements that you can make, which I don't know. I'll be honest, disclaimer, I don't know exactly what they are yet. I'm still working that out, but I went backwards. So whatever I did and however I did it wasn't quite right, and I'm part of learning, right? And we make mistakes. Things aren't always going to be as good. Sometimes we make adjustments and it's better, and sometimes we make it's not better. And this, it sounds horrible. It's lost mid-range torque, and did I say it sounds horrible? It's disgusting. I had to go and find myself another manifold. They were from Wreckers. I was looking about $500. Well, I found an old Getz, 4-door, exactly like the one that I race. That one's a 2007 model. This one's a 2010. Same stuff though. Same era sort of car. I'm gonna show what the car started out like, some of the things, and talk through what I've done to get it to this. Like I said, I'm not an expert. There's guys that are in this category that have got way more experience than me and know a lot more, but I'm just going to share what I've learned and what I've found along the way. First thing was to pull the interior out. We've got to put a roll cage in it. Roll cage is generally made to the size of the inside of the car with the interior out of it. Well, mine was anyway. So we removed the interior, and that helps with a bit of weight reduction. Under that, you got sound deadening and foam and different things. So all of that comes out. And then we want to get, as well as that, you want to take all your carpet out, take all your floor out. It was quite cathartic, ripping all of this out of the car. You must keep the upper part of the dash and the lower part of the dash center console. Some classes of cars, like some of the time attack cars, depending on the category you run, you're allowed to remove the dash completely. For this one, you got to leave it in, leave I think some of the XLs, you're allowed to cut the lower half out. It just depends on what you're doing and what your category is. This car, everything stays in, center console's got to go in. Other than that, everything comes out. Then we put in our roll cage, put in our racing seat. Now, there's a few different things that you can do with the race seat. I've got one with the head protection. I believe you don't have to do that. That's my understanding at this point with the regulations, but I felt like being door-to-door racing, it was going to eventually happen. If it hasn't, went for one with the surround. You don't have to, but if you run a window net, then you're allowed to have your windows down. I got a window net. I just like the idea of that if the window is to smash, still got something there that's holding you in. I put in a floor pan in mine as well, just so that with my heels and my feet and everything, my feet sit at the same height. Obviously, when you're removing the carpet and sound deadening and the underlay and things under the floor, changes the height of your feet. I got made to the height that I sort of liked it with my shoes and everything. Personal preference. So then also I changed the steering wheel, a racing steering wheel. I put one in that disconnects. Pretty much for that inside of the car, that's it. So when I first built the car, I left my door cards in. I left the stereo in, I left speakers in, all the electric motors, everything. After my first or second practice, I pulled all that out. So I pulled all the door cards out, pulled out the window motors, and I pulled out the controllers, the speakers, the wiring, everything. I haven't taken the anti-intrusion bars out, but I haven't cut the lining of the door out. I don't know if I'll do that, but that is another level to weight reduction, that you can go and cut that stuff out. And I've just put a cover on the inside of the driver's door just so that there's no open parts next to that door should you have an incident or something and, I don't know, a limb or something goes in there. The thing that you want to have inside is your harness. So your 6-point race harness that attaches to the base of the floor and also to your roll cage. And then that obviously clicks into your seat. The rolling cages made me up a base plate for my seat so that I just bolted into where the original rails went, and then I just bolted my seat to that. So that was really easy. And same thing, rolling cage just made my floor pan, which is really cool. As far as inside the car goes, that's about it. I mean, going back to what I'd done with removing the motors and everything, that ended up taking 35 kilos out of the car, which is a fair amount of weight. I could definitely feel it through the corners, changed the way that the car behaved. After that, then you're looking at an exhaust system. Some guys have got 2.5, I think. I know of a couple that are 2.25. Some are going 2-inch. And like I said before, you're allowed to have that from wherever your catalytic converter starts. You're allowed to remove that, and you can have your exhaust system from there back. The XL guys have played around with their exhausts a lot. There's a lot of different configurations for that. Being hot hatch, there's lots of different makes and models, but generally the guys seem to be doing the same things. And that's what I'm trying to work out. But as I said before, it didn't go very well. Once you've done that, you've done your interior, your roll cage is in, all your racing bits and pieces are in there. An isolator switch. Your isolator switch is one inside the car, and the other part, a pull cord, is on the outside. So that's that if you have an incident and the response guys come down, they'll just sort you out or disconnect your battery. They can pull it from the outside and cut the power to the vehicle for obvious reasons, fire and things like that. But also you have one inside the car that you can switch. That's a really important point, as well as your fire extinguisher. You need those two things to race on the track or be a part of this category. And then after that, it's controlled suspension. So DGR coilovers, and we have the Nankang NSR tires. You can choose what rim, and you buy them through the category, as well as your suspension. As far as intake or engine goes, everything has to stay standard. Some guys are running surge tanks, some guys are running different fuel pressure regulators, but as per the rules, it needs to stay at standard pressure. You can go and change those things, but they're still going to need to operate the same as an OEM system. Intake, obviously, some guys are running pod filters, some run stainless intakes. Videos on YouTube and stuff about people playing around with pod filters. It's very negligible if they actually make a difference. Cold air intake makes a difference, apparently. I'm running one of those. Some guys run it, some don't. Some just move the air filter outside of the engine bay, which then obviously stops heat soaking. But again, that's something that I'm going to be playing around with, but I just want to do one or two things at a time so that I have a bit of an understanding on what's actually changing and having positive influence versus not. Once you've done your suspension, your tires, as I said before, we've got the exhaust, intake sort of stuff, and that's pretty much it. I pulled the air conditioning out of my car. Obvious reasons, just weight. That was very heavy. I think that compressor weighed 12 kilos or something on its own. So obviously I'm just trying to get the weight of the car down. These are allowed to weigh 1,080. I might put in some footage of what the car sounds like now, without the disgusting changes that I made to the exhaust. I went to, actually it was a sprint at QR, and ruptured a power steering line, which then caused a small engine bay fire. So that was a bit untidy. I've got a lot of oil and stuff sprayed all over the engine bay. I have to go and sort that out now. I didn't want to go and jump ahead and talk about what was happening with that at the moment. I just wanted to try and capture a little video of some of the steps and things that you might have to do if you want to get into the category, or at a minimum you can see what I've done. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.